Hello, it's Richard at Richard's Guitars. Excuse me if my voice sounds a bit strange. My mouth has got dealing with dental work that's going on. I feel bad because I know that everybody around me is going to be very upset about me speaking about this, but it's ongoing, it's part of my life, so I want to talk about it. And that is the way in which I'm depicted on forum, well, a forum. It's called the Fretboard Forum in the UK, and it goes back a long way, and no question I brought a lot of it on myself because I have a habit of fighting fire with fire, and I've probably not handled, or I haven't handled, not criticism. I don't mind people criticising me. It's weird because this is one of the things that I get accused of not being able to handle criticism. The reality is I find abuse, or I call it abuse, defamatory comments, slander. Obviously I have a problem with that. Lies, anything that comes under that category, then clearly I've got a major problem with it, and I'm very quick to jump to my defence, and I get all mardy because I'm very proud of what I try and do. So I've got a bit of a legacy with this forum. I've been in touch with a solicitor, and the solicitor's been very clear to say there's no question you've got grounds for libel, but obviously it's very expensive, so I'm just going to put this video out to say that I just can't keep being affected by this sort of stuff, but I want to give you an example of what I'm currently dealing with, and hopefully never mention it again, because I think once I can just sort of get it out of my system and say, look, this has got to be the final time that I allow this sort of thing to drag me down, because all week this has been on my mind and it pulls me away from my work, it ruins my life because I get torn up by it. So let's just quickly jump into it and I'll try and explain it. The first post on here goes back to 2017, so this is one thread of communication that goes from May 2017, and it was last updated about a couple of weeks ago. And what is fascinating about this is the initial poster was a guy who I produced a video. I was so whenever anything incredibly negative occurs in my business or my life, I try and turn a positive out of it. And unfortunately, this customer was particularly problematic, and I'll quickly try and explain it. Customer receives an arch top jazz guitar, a floating bridge, and maybe, possibly, the floating bridge had moved in transit, possibly, because the customer was so incredibly defensive, angry and accusing right from the off. I'm now into, and because of what happened as a result of it, I'm in two minds as to whether there was ever a problem with the guitar. The customer immediately accused us of not doing the setup, duping him into sort of believing that we were providing a service that never occurred, and all very angry. I offered to have the guitar looked at locally to cause him the least inconvenience as possible. Tried to explain to him that it's just not possible for it to be, I know the guitar was set up, so I know there can't be that much wrong with it. So I was trying to pacify the guy. Anyway, he sent the guitar back. To cut a long story short, he didn't put a return address on the guitar. He didn't explain when he was sending it back. I just knew that he was going to send it back. 2 years ago, I didn't have the staff around me, so it just arrived. It was a brown box, and it just sat there. And he said nothing, I said nothing. It may have taken, I think he then chased me a few weeks later. I opened up the box to find a guitar that was completely wrecked. The action on the guitar was there was no action on the guitar. It was backbowed. There was a break in the there was a crack in the heel of the guitar, and when questioning him about it, he had basically fanned around with this guitar and felt that he was quite within his rights to do that. I explained to him the guitar was damaged. We had a fallout. you know, all that kind of, but it's just stuff. It happened, you know, unfortunately, this kind of thing happens. And I went on to do a video about the why head chefs don't run restaurants. And so all of this has been discussed the whole time. So this guy comes onto here saying that I basically shamelessly helped himself to his money, because I had two options at that point. I was aware that I didn't have to give him any refund. I could send him the guitar back. He damaged the guitar, sending it back, and he had completely tampered with the setup, so it was unplayable. So I had charged him the loss of the value of the guitar, which was £200. So it was a dispute, but obviously this was his thing, and so it goes on, and there's always communication saying how people are basically saying how he's been robbed, and it goes on and on. Stand your ground. Has he provided proof of damage? What was the proof? So it just goes on. It's just people just discussing. But what it then does, it just goes on into kind of basically this kind of weird, kind of like a frenzy of people having a go, talking about mental illness, bipolar. This is about me. I'm being told I'm a keyboard warrior. It just goes on and on and on. Now the point is, because it goes on and on and on, it then gives other people who have been kind of like kicking my ankles for 24 years. I've been in business 24 years. I've sold over 50,000 guitars, and yet there's this tiny little bunch of people who go onto a forum and try and convince everybody that I am the devil reincarnated. The reason why I want to talk about this, and the reason why it's upset me so much, is that despite all the kind of negativity, and not just negativity, but words that my children, if they were to read this, they'd be absolutely, saddened, obviously upset. But it goes on for 3 pages. So now we're into the year, that was 2017, and so we end up going towards December 2018, and I've had another customer, and this is the problem, right? Now I don't know whether the customer that saw me at Christmas already had an issue in his head, or whether he has just been duped by this kind of frenzy of negativity about me on this forum. Because he bought a guitar at Christmas, and it was a Godin Montreal Premier, beautiful guitar, being sold in clearance because we can't get the guitars from Godin. So I thought, look, if I can't promote this guitar because they are literally impossible to get hold of, we'll just clear it at Christmas, make a positive out of a negative. So I cleared this guitar through, and it was an £1,800 guitar that was being sold for $999, so a massive deal. The customer bought it on finance, and you think, oh God, like, because we were already losing money on the guitar already, but the guy wanted to buy it on finance. So I thought, you know what, just forget. Don't worry about, you don't always make a profit and everything, just clear it through. So he paid for it on finance, but he was buying it from the shop. So he put the finance through, came to collect the guitar, and it was a complete nightmare because I wasn't at the shop at the time. But the guitar we had used a library photo for the guitar, and the library photo of the guitar didn't have a Bigsby, had a Bigsby trem picture. The guitar we were selling didn't have a Bigsby trem. So a complete nightmare. Clearly, the customer was upset because he expected a guitar with a Bigsby trem. Now, the unfortunate aspect of this is the customer, I believe initially he just said, oh, I wanted a Bigsby trem. So he left it and came back. I then said to the customer, so he came back and he saw me, because I wasn't there the first time. When he came back, he saw me, and he had already kind of come up with this kind of view, because he'd realised that he knew what despite being upset there was no Bigsby trem, he realised that he was onto an amazing deal, and so he got the guitar for $999. He had it on interest-free finance, and he had realised that you can actually put a Bigsby trem on this guitar, have it retrofitted. So because he was going down that train of thought, I thought, well, fantastic, I'll just offer to go halves with him on the Bigsby trem. because I couldn't do any more than that because we were already losing money, and he had the option not to have the guitar at all. He could have just not bought the guitar, and I'd have sold it to somebody else. So clearly I wasn't going to pay. So I offered to go halves on the Bigsby trem, and we would fit the trem for him as well. I mean, you couldn't. Can I be any fairer than that? You know. So I went halves on the. I was going to go halves on the Bigsby trem, and we were going to fit the trem for him. He leaves. But then I find he has posted a 3-star review on Trustpilot, basically explaining how disorganised the business was, and he used the phrase that he had been either the phrase missold or you know, like there was this kind of phrase of being duped, if you like, in there. I thought, why would he do that? Because he's got to come back to my shop to have this all work done, and as a goodwill gesture I've offered to have the guitar, I've offered to go halves on the Bigsby trem and fit it free of charge, which is a complete nightmare for me, you know, just to sell a guitar off on finance. And I couldn't understand why he'd gone so negative. So I contacted the guy and said, look, did you mean to be quite so, you are aware of, you know, what we're doing for you here? Well, anyway, I then find he's been posting about the whole thing on this forum. And now the thing is, here you go. When you read how it comes across on here, it is literally beyond belief how it's all described. It is beyond my comprehension. I can't sort of like I can't sort of go through it word for word. But it talks about how, I think when he said he rang me up, and it talks about me frothing at the mouth and that I was like going mad on the phone, which is complete bollocks. I mean, like frothing at the mouth. I was upset that he'd put a review on Trustpilot implying that we were basically rubbish and mis-selling him product. I wasn't frothing at the mouth, but I was upset about it. I had a member of staff, Richard, with me at the time, who remembers no raised word, you know, nothing, just like me explaining to the guy. And during that same conversation, and this is the crazy thing, and certainly what's not mentioned on here, during that conversation I said to him, despite how you've behaved, despite how you have conducted yourself, you've basically ripped my business apart on a thing. You've been offered all this goodwill with the free installation of the Bigsby trem, the 50/50 payment on the Bigsby trem, but despite that, we're here to help you. So I literally, but I was just not going to let him sort of, you know, I'm not going to stand there and let him kick me to the ground and do all this work for him. But I said to him, if you've got a problem, because he was saying that he had a little rattly buzz on the guitar. Well, those rattly buzzes are normal. They're completely normal. It's an arch top metal with metal parts on it. They resonate and they make little metal rattly noises around the trem and the whatever you call it, the tailpiece. They tend to have little rattles in harmony with the vibration of the guitar. It sounded completely normal. But I said to him, look, bring it in. I said, it doesn't matter how I feel. I mean, obviously I might feel offended by how things have gone, but I'm still here to support you. I'd support anyone. And I told him that clear as day. He's gone on here, absolute tyrant, he's a sociopath. This word sociopath comes up regularly on this forum, on this thread anyway, because it's half a dozen guys that just want to just basically talk about my being a sociopath. But what's more important is, I want to get this clear, so I'm going to lose the important bit. It's so much. I mean, the fact these guys want to talk so much about me, it's kind of weird. Here you go. Someone talking about me being a sociopath again. Or same guy, the customer. Oh yeah, the shop staff seem scared of him, and now his shop boy, they call him, shop boy. He's 36 years old. Has the same name as him. He makes everyone call him Richard the First. This is literally written down. The shop staff seems scared of him, and now his shop boy has the same name as him. He makes everyone call him Richard the First. We literally, jokingly, if you're a customer of mine, you'll know I've said this. We're both called Richard. So he's called Richard, I'm called Richard. So Richard came up with the name Richard Mark II. So as soon as he came up with the name Richard Mark II, I said, I'm the Mark I, old obsolete version, and you're the free upgrade. So any customer that contacts me, I always happily, against myself, say, do you want the free upgrade or do you want the old obsolete version? Because it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek fun. But for some reason, these people who go on here just want to turn everything into an absolute, like, he also calls my lovely Sally, who works in customer service, he calls her a snooty, I think it was something like a snooty old cow. So he calls her my receptionist. If anything, you might want to call her a PA. She's like an assistant. She's not a receptionist. She deals with customer service. She liaises with all customers, the technician, the courier. She's got a memory like an elephant. I'm blessed to have this lady working with me. She's a mother. She doesn't need to be working for me. She does it because to get out of the house. She's had a very successful background of her own, and she has 3 children, and while they're at school, she comes and helps me out, and she's absolutely lovely. But apparently, she's a snooty old cow who apparently is scared of me. See, the trouble is, I don't know where this is going to stop, because it's never going to stop. These people are never going to stop saying these things. It doesn't matter what I say to these people. I'm banned on the forum. I've been banned because when I was having all these problems with this kind of stuff going on, when I was allowed to access it, I got to a point where it was so awful that I started deleting my posts, thinking I don't want to be part of this. The only way I can sort of stop this from happening is just not be part of it, not allow this to take my life over. So if I just remove any post that I've created, then I can just feel like I've taken control back and move on with my life. As soon as I started deleting my posts, I got an automatic ban on there. Now they now say, I don't know, they say that I was banned for threatening to sue them. No, I threatened to sue them over defamatory comments that I've got no control over. I'm not allowed to go near that forum. I can't touch it. I've approached the administrator of the forum at Christmas time when all this was kicking off, because I saw this post kicking off at Christmas, at December, with this guy, and I said, look, water under the bridge, can we just kind of get some kind of sense of, can you please just sort of think about taking some of this content off? It's damaging my health, it's damaging my business. And the response I had back was that you are happy to give criticisms and comments about, companies, but you're not very good at taking it back. So as soon as you start removing your content about criticisms such as Gibson and things like that, I'll think about removing your some of the comments about your mindset and your health and your personality, which I think is, well, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's blackmail. Is that the right word, blackmail? I don't know. But on discussing it with a legal guy, it's clear that the administration of this website know absolutely that what is being said on here is defamatory. It's highly personalised. They openly admit that it's what they call a national sport on this forum to mock and humiliate me. It's actually written on their site, and but the point is, I couldn't give a damn. When you have an opinion like I do and you are so outspoken, of course you're going to have people that don't like you. That's fine. There isn't the people not liking me that I don't mind. I am, one thing I teach my kids is that you have to be strong and accept that if you want to be yourself, the last thing you want to be doing is chasing friends and wanting everyone to like you. I've done videos on it. You've seen the videos I've done where you know that you can't be liked by everyone. But when it becomes malicious, and it's really odd. It's like this kind of blend between using real life situations to manipulate and to sort of exaggerate situations to, you know what I mean, that work against me. I've got no way of defending myself. And when it just piles on, and the same people, it's always the same people. I don't know how many people go onto the Fretboard forum. I imagine it's thousands. It is about 6 people who always come up with the same comments every thread. Every time I've ever posted anything on that forum, it will be, as the conversation builds, bang, the same people will come on and they'll start mocking me or mocking my sort of whatever. It's just the way they work. It's just they've got nothing better to do. I've had people contacting me saying that they only go onto the forum in order to mock me, which is like, yeah, cool. You know, if that's what turns you on, sort of thing. But it's just got really serious in my mind. I don't know. Just to me, it just feels wrong that this can be allowed to go on. So there you go. This video will end up on the Fretboard forum. It will end up with the same people mocking me, as they always do. It will end up with a kind of a thread of conversation talking about how I'm a passive aggressive, that I play the victim, that I am using this to my advantage. All of this stuff will be said. I could literally write the thread of what will be said because of this video, where I'm doing a video because I'm deeply like stressing out about how my potential customers and people in the future who will naturally fall onto this forum when they search for my name, how it affects my business, how it affects my family, my children. I've explained this all to the admin of Fretboard forum, yet they will not do anything about the content. And what I've been explained is that because the administration of the forum not only are aware of this information on there, but they're actually fanning the flames and contributing to these posts, it's clear that they are aware of the impact it's having on me. Therefore, we have grounds to sort of do it. It'll cost me thousands, won't it? Any kind of legal action costs you thousands of pounds. So, yeah. Am I going to do that? No. Yeah. So I'm saying it on the camera. I'm not going to do that. I don't think I want to lower myself either. I think the whole thing is just a bit like, I'm just going to defend myself by sticking these videos out, which I'm saying to you now, this will be the last one I do. So, okay, done. That's chapter closed in my life then. Any damage to my business, I suck it up, accept it, and try not to let these guys take advantage. If the guy who had the problem with the Bigsby, you've explained on this thing that your local tech is Noiseworks. So I'm going to be contacting Noiseworks, and I'm going to explain to them that if you do turn up with that guitar, I'll be paying 50% of the bill, like I said to you when you came to my shop. Do you remember? So, and I will explain to your guy at Noiseworks that I don't know whether you're a... I got the impression from meeting you that you are... I got the impression that you may be slightly insecure, that you kind of have a natural kind of concern because you feel like you had been missold something. You then went onto a website and you saw a load of people bitching about me, and you know, you kind of, I'm giving you the credit here, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. Why you would call my reception lady, which is not my reception lady, a snooty cow, why you'd say I'm a sociopath, why you would say all these other things, and say I was frothing at the mouth, I don't know. I'm presuming it's because you've read a load of bullshit on a forum, and you've kind of, because you are a bit sort of insecure, you found security with some kind of connection with these people on this forum. I can't answer you. I don't know why you're doing it. But as I say, if you are watching this video, not only is your guitar completely fully warranted, I've offered you the Bigsby Trem. You had every opportunity not to take the guitar away in the first place, but you bought it and you walked away with it. So we can only help you as much as you help yourself. Okay, alright, okay everyone, hope you're well. I've got another video to do tonight. I'm hoping it's going to be a nice positive one about guitars and things. I want to get my mind up into the real world again. Final point, November was just unbelievably busy, and I cannot tell you how grateful I am for the support, both for the channel and for just it's overwhelming. January was our best ever January, and February has without question started as being our without question our best ever start for February, and all the signs are so as my guy in the shop said, Richard, he said, Rich, you tell me that these comments on the forum affect you and your business, but why are we doing all these record-breaking months? Why are you focusing? And throughout my whole life in business, guys who've worked with me, for me, have said to me, Rich, why do you allow comments on forums to affect you so much? And it just does. It just, it's just a reality. It's just my character. Just don't want people to think awful things about me. That's that. Okay. Thanks for listening. Bye.